What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with another Summoners War video. And in today's video, we got some sad news for the Summoners War community. We have lost our G1 rank, but not only that, we have literally tanked by losing over 200 points in the last 7 days, right? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about all the mistakes that I made, so that you guys can learn from my mistakes and don't do what I did. If you are really trying hard to climb up into the higher ranks here. Before we get into that, though, I do want to go ahead and let you guys know, for those that didn't get a chance to check it out, about 2 weeks ago, we made an announcement talking about the new collaboration between the Amazon App Store and Windows 11. So if you guys are not familiar with that, Windows 11 now has a new platform for you guys, which is essentially called the Amazon App Store Preview. So if you guys are people that play a lot of games here via the Amazon App Store, now you can essentially play those games on your PC if you have Windows 11. So again, big shout out to the Amazon App Store for sponsoring this video. As you guys know, we've been utilizing Amazon coins here for a little over 2 years now. I even made a video back in the day talking about how I made the big mistake of not taking advantage of it 3 to 4 years ago after the first 2017 Mobile Masters. So again, guys, if you guys are one of those people out there that already spend money in the game, you got to hit that link in the description down below. Save yourself up to 20%. Your wallet will definitely thank you for that. Okay, so now let's get back into the video here. I'm just gonna roll right into it. I'm not gonna have any gameplay for right now. I just want to go ahead and get into the topics, and maybe I'll throw a match here at the end of the video. So I think the biggest thing that is gonna be it's gonna happen any way you look at it here, when some other kind of new strategy comes in and it starts just kind of taking over the meta right now, over time you will have a lot of issues to deal with, because your opponent is just going to essentially understand the strategy and what you got to do to go ahead and counter it, right? As you guys know, when I first got into this, I was sitting around 1,500 points, and I knew the strategy, but I didn't realize how valuable specific units out there. And I try to throw units here and there to kind of mix it up or whatnot here. But if I wasn't using my core 5 units, which essentially was the Water Ryu, Vertihill, Chungus, aka Chunkpong, right? Jogun, and then of course in my particular situation, because I have Ziana, using Ziana here, if I was using those 5, then I was having myself a little bit of an issue overall here. So of course, as you guys might have guessed, doing more matches allowed me to see what people decided to use to counter me, and so I would be a little bit more picky about who I went to counter myself, which one was giving me the most issues as I was climbing up in the ranks here. So naturally, I was able to climb up into G1 fast, and of course over the time I started running into the heavy G1, G2 players, which again I'm going to lose some points because they're just outclass me. They have better runes or whatnot, or are faster than me. But even as I dropped, I was like, oh, it's no big deal. I started losing some matches, and I'm like, oh, I'll get it back in over time. Like, no, now some of the people that I was hitting in the lower ranks here were still making me look bad, just as bad as the G1 and G2 players were, because again, they were understanding what I was trying to do. They were understanding the strategies I was trying to employ. So over time, regardless of what kind of new and unique strategy you decide to develop, they're going to figure out what you're doing. They're going to figure out what you're doing, and you're just going to have to figure out other ways to, come at it. So that's the biggest thing to do. Another mistake that I made as I was, kind of setting this up is essentially just trying to give up that turn 1 and knowing when to pivot here. So naturally, right, we get an opportunity to, if I'm going first pick, generally speaking, my Water Ryu here is going to be the unit that I go first pick, right? And so sometimes they would, still put out the CR Wusa, which allows me to commit and go right into my turn 1 comp. But more times than not, especially over the last 2 days, they started either picking, units that I utilize in my composition, or just went right in to the anti, cleave, counter, all that good jazz here, right? From the Molly to the Fire Ryu to the Riley that can't be resetted because of how that unique skill 4 works, to Abelio, to all these units out there that just make my life absolutely miserable. And that's the funny thing about it is that at the end of the day, I'm running an aggressive comp, and if I can't do what I need to do turn 1, things are going to be really hard. So I would choose to try to either just go all in and commit, because I felt like there was just no other way around it, or if I chose to pivot, I would choose to pivot in round 3, my last 2 picks of the ban, or the last 2 picks of the RTA part, and it would just be too little too late here. So again, if you guys see that they don't care about your Ryu and they're looking to go turn 1 and they're looking to bring in some counter units, you gotta just pivot right away. Go into there. Yes, you lose that opportunity for Water Ryu to be essentially part of the composition that you were originally trying to do, but it's better for you to pivot early, pivot round 2, and just try to make the best of it, try to outlast them basically at the end of the day. Another thing too, and I think this is essentially a common thing that we all know about. Like it's like we don't want to hear, but we need to hear. Losing streaks and keeping going. You know, being all tilted and still doing RTA. I mean, everyone's seen it on me live on stream. I know they've seen other countless YouTubers, streamers out there where essentially we just kind of absolutely lose it, right? We just like we try to keep a straight face, but at the end of the day, it's so demoralizing when you just get not only you get outplayed sometimes, but you just get luck sack, for lack of a better word here. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's gonna happen. And when it does happen, that's a great time to unplug, do something else, get back into the art of farming and find something else to do, play a second game, whatever the case may be. Find something that makes you happy again, because if you're like me, I knew early on, once I climbed into the G1, that it was going to happen, right? My streak was inevitably going to come to an end. But the cool thing about my situation is that I, did it, but even though I lost, I kind of knew why I lost, and I was motivated to get up in there and try to do it again. But unfortunately, regardless of how strong the composition is, especially when it comes to the accuracy versus resistance check, and me having max accuracy, it's not going to, it's 100%, it's not 100%, right? There's still a 15% chance to resist, and it definitely can happen more times than not. And there's people out there that build tier 2 comps with literally max resist. So the reality of it is that regardless of the fact that if I have all these units to kind of counter what they would counter, right, they would do, I still can be unfortunate. I still can lose, and specific units that have some element of RNG can rip me to no end, right? All of the Antareses out there, all of the Dianas out there, all of the Fire Ryus and the people utilizing Molly with the Fire Ryu. And then running into my high-end G1, G2 players that were running Arta Ragdoll. So it's like my number one ban would be a Ragdoll, but then when you got Arta Ragdoll, what do you do when the guy leaves your Vertihill and he's counterattacking, every single time and stunning you every single time? It's just tilting, right, to deal with it, and it's unfortunate. It happens. Like they understand the game, they understand what you're trying to do, and now they put even more counters. You essentially got to pick the right counter to ban, but you still got to deal with everything else here. So if everything doesn't go your way turn one, it's pretty much done. So right, high risk, high reward is a strategy we're doing here, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't here. Another mistake that I made here, and I don't want to say it's essentially a mistake, but it's just kind of the way that my team was structured here, right? We're running Water Ryu, Vertihill, we got the Jogun, we got the Ziana. And then what was the last one here? I'm sorry. Chung Pung, right? Chung Pung. So essentially the composition is strong, but I'm basically utilizing only one speed lead. So if they find it's fine if they undervalue Water Ryu in this particular spot here. But if they are, trying to get turn one and they, create a composition that has counters, or maybe they're trying to contest turn one, busting out a double speed lead will obviously give them the win here. So that forces me to, potentially try to pick a unit out there, like a Ciara or a Samantha, to make sure I guarantee turn one. But the reality of it is that if I do pick 2 speed leads, then they take a look at the comment and say, okay, well, what is the unit that is going to enable him to get the first turn, right? It's going to be the Vertigo. It's going to be the one that essentially is pushing the attack bar here. And outside of that, if I don't have that, regardless if I have the speed leads or not, I'm going to get blasted by them. So again, making sure that if you're doing some kind of strategy or whatnot, and you don't have 2 like attack bar boosters per se, you gotta make sure that you're taking those speed leads, because if you don't have the speed leads, that 24% can literally be the difference between a winner or loss here. And then next one up, I think I already said it already, but I'll drop it once again. Just essentially the counters and banning the right one. The one thing that I ran into a lot was basically realizing that not only did they have counters for my composition, but they had multiple counters. I'm talking like 3 or 4 counters. So I had to choose which unit would make sense to ban correctly. And as you guys know from my previous video, I wasn't really scared about Fire Ryu. I had ways of dealing with the Fire Ryu, right? I had the Water Ryu with the attack break. I had the Jogun with the attack buff on skill 3. So I had ways to provide attack for my units out to do more. And I got my units built on a little bit more attack here. Now, mind you, I can definitely utilize a little bit more on this specific one here. Maybe going speed, attack, HP, or sorry, speed, attack, accuracy, or whatnot. But I needed to. The reality of it is that I needed to. What's it called? I just couldn't deal with every single counter that was coming my way here. So I knew like certain things were gonna fail, and I just had to deal with it. I started undervaluing Leo, and leaving him in there in certain spots where I would, generally, get rid of him so I can get turn one, because he had other units that were just as toxic as or just, just outrageously toxic. So sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But at the end of the day, it definitely hurt me that I didn't ban the right counters or whatnot. The last but not least, again, this is the beauty about Summoners War, is that as good as you are, as much as we always get get humbled real quick here, because the reality of it is that there's just people out there that, regardless of how well you can rune and how many LDFIs they just have such an amazing talent for this game. RTA understand what to do, who to attack, like what to focus on here. That at the end of the day, one of the biggest reasons why I started dropping was I just got severely outplayed. I got outclassed. I got pwned. It was ridiculous. And some of the ways that it happened was not just because they were an outstanding player, but because they did what we were trying to do early on, which is, creating a new comp and doing something that they haven't seen before. Because if they haven't seen it, then, they're not going to know how to counter against it. But if they create some kind of composition that is something that I'm not familiar with, I started choking, right? I got 30 seconds to try to pick units here, and I don't even know what to do when they lay out there. I know that I don't have the match anymore here, but I ran into a composition that it didn't look like they were looking to go turn one, but they snuck it in there. And one of the units that they utilized was Charlotte. So again, guys, skill 2, skill 3 Charlotte, right? We have the attack bar manipulation decrease for this skill, but also attack bar boost as well. So again, I think that's a lot of, there's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of things that people overlook in that spot. And me personally, I did not have I think they didn't run any speed leads. I had one speed lead. So at the end of the day, what happened was they banned the water Ryu, and it was my Vertihill versus their Charlotte. So naturally, with the fire Ryu having 99, Charlotte having 105, obviously it came down to the quality of runes. But essentially, they got me really good, because they basically went. It was like a Charlotte Kaki combo. And they utilized Charlotte to get the first turn, but Charlotte also did some decent damage here. And then, Kaki followed through doing some damage. And it was just, basically I lost like 2 units turn 1 and was done with it. It's unfortunate. Also, I know this is like, everyone's kind of heard about that. Everyone knows about this, but I'm running turn 1, or you guys might be running turn 1. And so you might be doing everything in your power to get turn 1, get the speed that you need, and not use will, right? Some people we've recommended out there to, if you got a speed tune, and sometimes that means speed tune a little bit lower than you generally would, because you need to put will on a unit, or you need to do this, you need to do that. Well, I got in certain situations where essentially, I had to choose between, banning specific units and Antares. I would leave Antares in there, and as you might have guessed, when you leave Antares and you pray that he doesn't proc turn 1, he did. He goes AoE, he's triple stunned your opponents, and then that just ruins its no end. So again, turn 1, it's high risk, high reward. You do what you got to do to get the first turn and get the jump of the opponent. But if you're not running will, you definitely are susceptible to get controlled, and it could literally, make or break your match here. So again, those are some of the biggest reasons why I tank. I tanked really hard. For those of you guys that follow me, I'm not even gonna kid you right now. I've talked about it many times on it. Like RTA for me, it's an absolute pleasure to do, but man, when things don't go your way, like any other person, right? I take it a little harder than most here. So, but that being said, though, I've actually been pretty surprised at how, even by taking a beating, I feel like the Rocky of Summoners War right now, where I've been taking a beating, but I've been doing my wings without question. I've done more wings this week than I have in the previous season. That's crazy to say, but I literally have done all 30 wings since the recent change here of the strategy, and it's been fun again, and so at the end of the day, well, yes, I'm not achieving my G1 that I would like to achieve, but is the game fun for me right now? Definitely. It sucks that I'm losing a couple matches here. I'm not being able to maintain my rank, but I'm having fun doing it and I'm learning a lot from it. So again, that's why I made this video, right? As you guys can imagine as a YouTuber, when you make that first video, say, look at me now, I'm in the G1, you know, you get super excited. You want to showcase, you know, yeah, I made it, man. I'm so good. Right. But now it's like, wow, dude, I got a nice little reality check. I got to take a step back. So I figured, what the heck, I'll go ahead and share, you know, all the reasons that happened. And, you know, maybe you guys can relate. Some of you guys can relate. Some of you guys are probably the people that beat me down the ranks here. So, hey, you guys get out of here. But before you get out of here, okay, like the video, right? But now I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I hope it motivates you, empowers you to do better. Stay in there. And again, when things will go your way, take a break, unwind, unplug, get away from the phone and just have fun. Enjoy life, right? But yeah, that's going to be it, fam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish with Childish Plays. Checking out. Take care. And we'll see you all in the next one. I'm out.